Black Panther game got canceled, as well as Cliffhanger Games got shut down in the process.
Yeah, I saw this and it's one where like I wasn't necessarily surprised about it because this is
It's
just one
been
of
a
those
minute.
this is one of those where it's like it's just been so long and we
Yeah,
had heard nothing.
yeah.
And there's few very few studios. Most of them are like they got to be like those they got to be the big names.
Yeah, the big ones,
They
yeah.
got to be like cuz I mean we've kind of mentioned before there's almost like a big 3 of like video game studios right now.
Yeah.
And it's like unless you're one of those and it's been 4 years since we've heard anything on it,
Mhm.
you're in trouble.
Yeah, no. 100% because that's honestly how I still feel, about the Iron Man game. Now granted EA, EA is the one who's publishing the Black Panther game. They're the ones who shut down Cliffhanger. They said that they are working on 3 more projects with Marvel, which does include Iron Man. So Iron Man is still a go, but I feel like Iron Man is in the same realm of how far along are you? Because the reason Black Panther apparently got shut down and the studio closed is the game has been in pre-production for 4 years and it's still in pre-production. They've made no progress on
I
getting
think
it
that
out of
might be the
pre-production.
difference in the Iron Man game because I
Yeah.
think it was I mean, it's been years, but at least they had, like, a concept.
Yeah.
They had something rough to show off.
Now, you want to know what really sucks about the Black Panther game getting canceled is that it sounds like Cliffhanger was really trying to do something special and they just either couldn't get it to work or they just really needed more time because with all the reports of it getting shut down, I would assume the reason why it was still in pre-production is because they were developing a new game system that was inspired by the Nemesis system.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably what kept it in pre-production is they were trying to
Well,
really hammer out whatever this system was.
that I guess the question there is, when did they decide they were gonna do that?
Also a great question.
Because
Was it 2 years in, 3
because
years in?
because it's been 4 years. Did you decide on that 3 years in because you realized you needed something you
You
needed to have an excuse?
yeah, you needed something
Or
unique or you needed an excuse because maybe what
or
you
is
had
it
wasn't very good.
because the other thing is, if you were working on it for 4 years and didn't have something and you didn't have something that you could show off to have like the faith put in you on it,
Yeah,
it it means you didn't make enough progress on it.
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you could they could give you the money to fund you for a couple more years on it, but if you're not making progress on the game because you're still trying to develop this system after 4 years,
Right.
it,
Then
it is one at some point you got to cut your losses.
yeah, and
And that
that's one of those where it's like I feel like, you know, when you can look around the room of the gaming industry and see some historic losses because of how much games cost, like let's say Concord, I feel like something like that's going to make people a little bit more gun shy. Where it's like you've already wasted my money for 4 years. Like it's like you just said, it's time to cut
yeah.
losses.
Well, it's one where it's like because it is kind of that thing. Did you start with that concept or were you 3 years in and realized you needed like you were still trying to figure out like the gameplay loop so you were like
Right.
let's create a system and they kind of caught you trying to like essentially trying to just come up with something
Hmm.
after that time. It's either that or you spent all the time and you couldn't actually make a cohesive system
Hmm.
and they looked at it and they went this is going to take you another decade to do and we cannot afford to do that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's like it's unfortunate when you see like entire teams cut off like that
Yeah.
and shut down,
It sucks, but
but it's one where I mean, yeah, I mean it 100% sucks, but at some point like you gotta have something to show. You gotta have something to show to give them a reason to believe in you.
yes.
And it's like that may not have happened here, or maybe they had something that was half working, and it may have been something that they only started working on in the last year or so.
Yeah.
In that case, that kind of sucks. But at the same time, what'd you do for the previous 3 years?
Again, that is the question. Like, look, no one likes to see games get canceled, right? No matter what the game is. Like let's say for us here at the show, none of us are big DC fans, right? None of us really are Wonder Woman fans. Hated to see that game get canceled because we were excited for the Nemesis system possibilities, right? Hate to see any game get canceled. Like, I know at least me and Zach, we still want to see Scalebound come back one day. That would be cool. But like, and it's same thing here. I love Marvel. I'm excited for the Iron Man gaming. I'm excited for Blade. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy. Midnight Suns was a lot of fun. The gameplay for Avengers was fun. God bless, they screw everything else up with the game. Black Panther is one that I thought was gonna be fun because I was excited for like the Wakanda that we were gonna be able to explore, and just the premise that's come out of it, where it's like the main antagonists were like Skrulls who were invading Wakanda. You were gonna be able to play as T'Challa, Killmonger, and Shuri, all three having the Black Panther mantle, plus a potential Nemesis system inspiration. That all sounds great, but it's like what we're saying. When did you start that system? Because I feel like that played a factor into them getting canceled, which sucks. That sucks. Which also shout out to Prince Green in the chat because he said interesting perspective, because it's all about perspective. We're all about here about giving different
Yeah.
perspectives and opinions. And
And
how you doing, playtester? Hopefully you're having a great day.
I will say as well, like they say they still got 3 more Marvel games in development. I'm I'm starting to wonder like what those games are when those games are supposed to be coming out.
Yeah, that's actually a good
Because
question. I don't know.
the other thing is
Let me see if I
you're
can find anything
missing
else.
you've kind of missed the window for Marvel games. In a sense, because I feel like part of like if the Black Panther game did come out, I feel like part of it would have been like Black Panther, like playing as Black Panther would have been the selling point of the game.
True.
But I don't know that that's enough anymore because like Marvel fatigue has been real for a long time and now more than ever. So I don't like you if you're gonna release a game based on the Marvel IP now, you gotta nail gameplay first and not just rely on the Marvel IP characters
Right. Right.
because like I mean I'm not gonna lie, like Black Panther, if it did come out, it would have had to have looked spectacular and like the gameplay would have had to have looked amazing because Black Panther on itself is not gonna sell me.
Right.
And like Iron Man on itself, that's not gonna sell me. You're gonna have to show me something that looks cool
Hmm.
and looks like it would be a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, I am curious what the other games are by EA. I tried to look it up just then, but then I had a little bit of a drop frame issue, so I pulled back on that. But I am curious what the other two games are going to be for EA, because I actually don't know what else that EA is doing in terms of Marvel. Because I know we have Blade. That one is, I believe, with under the Bethesda banner.
That
Um,
was is that
Arcane.
Arcane?
I think that's
Yeah, I think
Arcane.
that's Arcane
I
doing
think
it.
Arcane's doing Blade. Let's see, Marvel, 1943, the Captain America Black Panther game. That one's Skydance Media, so that one's independent. Um, you got like the Cosmic game, which is just like the 2D, the 2D game, whatever, team beat 'em up. Obviously, Insomniac stuff. I can't really think anything beyond that. But so I am curious whether stuff they have in the works. But yeah, no, Marvel fatigue has been a real thing for sure. Even Kevin Feige has been very notable of that and trying to go with more quality versus quantity for the
Yeah.
MCU projects.
It's just one where it's like if they have these games in development, they gotta show something off
Yeah,
sooner rather than later.
yeah, yeah,
So I mean, maybe we find like maybe this week we find out what those other 2 games are.
yeah. That's actually a good point. Will we see some Marvel stuff this week? That's a great question. No, it sucks for Cliffhanger Games and sucks for the Black Panther game. Would love to see what they had cooking, but again, it is one of those situations of you do just have to kind of count your losses. Unfortunately, hate it, but unfortunately, it is what it is.